What do you think of when you hear there's been an explosion?
Definitely the mob. A gangland hit.
Bikers, outlaws blowing up their rivals. Snitches.
Unabomber, Oklahoma City, terrorist attack, Boston Marathon, World Trade Center, Twin Towers.
Surreal.
It was the loudest bang I'd ever heard. It reverberated for several seconds.
What about the pipe bomb that killed real estate mogul Gary Triano?
It was a JFK moment. Tucson's 9/11. Everyone remembers where they were when that happened.
The last time Tucson, Arizona had a bombing was in 1976, when a remote-controlled detonated car bomb exploded in the parking lot of the Clarendon Hotel, killing investigative reporter Don Bowles. It was November 1st, 1996, Tucson, Arizona, a few days shy of Gary Triano's 53rd birthday. Eerily, it was also Day of the Dead, and celebrations were in full swing. Little girls dressed in ruffles, red ribbons trailing through their dark braids, grinned as they ate sugar skulls of their dead relatives. Where was I when Gary Triano was blown sky high? Preparing for my first felony trial as a brand new prosecutor with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. I could not have known then how intertwined my life would be to his decades-long investigation, which culminated in my award-winning true crime book, A Socialite Scorned, and the many news shows that followed, dedicated to bringing Gary Triano's horrific end to justice. This is Crime Stands Still, Season 2, Killer Instincts. One season, one story, the podcast that delves deeply into cases post-conviction, resolving cases, bringing you new evidence, fresh perspective, and revisionist theories, the whole truth, and not just what the jury heard. Investigating the murder of Gary Triano and writing the book A Socialite Scorned involved reviewing nearly 200,000 emails and countless more digital recordings of conversations between the co-conspirators. I also reviewed 80,000 pages of discovery, thousands of spreadsheets of financial information, and detailed reports concerning bomb debris. This was a real whodunit of epic proportions, with a cast of thousands, an expansive crime scene at a public posh resort, and a timeline that spanned a decade. Season 2, Killer Instincts, Episode 1, The Bombshell. Gary Triano, land developer and real estate mogul, eagerly anticipated his own birthday celebration, his 53rd. He'd just finished a round of golf at the Westin La Paloma Country Club when he slipped his impressive 6'2", 241-pound frame into his borrowed 1989 maroon Lincoln Town Car. He dangled his keys in the ignition. On the passenger seat was a curious blue canvas bag. He probably suspected it was an early birthday gift, but when he reached over to open it, the blast blew open his skull. The windshield and other car parts soared into the resort swimming pool. The hands on his dial-less gold Movado watch stopped at 5:38 p.m. The scene near Sunshine Boulevard erupted in pandemonium as victims struck by flying shrapnel dropped their tennis rackets on the court mid-game and fled to safe rooms inside the resort. Other guests huddled in the desert garden and Roadrunner lounges fearing a terrorist attack. Bathers from the swimming pool emerged still dripping in their swimsuits, towels wrapped around their waists. They gathered in the lobby. Others drove their golf carts off the course heading to the nearby streets. Diners left their half-eaten meals on plates. Bloody steak juice dripped off the tablecloth. The roar of ambulance and fire trucks punctuated the surprise. Passing motorists would later describe the bomb as a flash of light, a pillar of smoke, and a distinct smell of burning carpet. The task of sifting through bomb debris and hundreds of witnesses, most of whom looked like country club members, belonged to Pima County Deputy Sheriff Detective James Gamber. He had been in homicide for just 2 months, and tasked with one of the biggest cases in Tucson's history.
I was doing dishes after dinner, and I got a call. There's been a car bombing at La Paloma, and you need to go up there.
Detective Gamber had no idea when he received the call out that Gary Triano had made a career out of being the most hated man in Tucson, and that those who knew him said he died the way he lived, explosive. Gamber had no idea when he responded that night that he would continue to investigate the death of Gary Triano for 18 years.
The explosion wasn't survivable. It was quick, calculated murder. There are those who look at a bomb and think, classic signature mob hit. Gary was flamboyant, a good-looking man but rotten to the core. A con man and a thief who stole from just about everyone, including his own family, his own wife. That's just who he was. Anyone who associates with known criminals, like retired mafia boss Joe Bonanno, lives dangerously. I know for a fact that his name was on a kill list.
But not everyone wanted Gary dead. Pamela Phillips found him electrifying. A gorgeous blonde with a ruthless business edge, she went after what she wanted: Gary.
It was love at first sight, if you believe in that sort of thing. It didn't faze her at all that he was married. She liked that he'd made millions through Indian gaming casinos in the late 80s. They had everything in common, a real love of money. Gary was pretty smitten with her, so much so that he divorced his wife over the phone while she was vacationing in Europe with her 2 children.
Gary wasted no time ordering Pam a gorgeous diamond wedding ring, one he boasted was worth $250,000. He could not have known then how much that ring would cost him.
Gary and Pam married right away on a yacht in San Diego. They were jet setters, zipped around in their Jaguars. Purchased a home together in Tucson's affluent Skyline Country Club in the foothills of the Catalina Mountains overlooking the Westin La Paloma Golf Resort. They were once guests of Trump's at his Mar-a-Lago estate.
Pam fell in love with Gary's image, but let's face it, she didn't really know him. She didn't know he was involved in 72 lawsuits. He owed his ex-wife $1.8 million in business debt and loans, an attorney $91,000 in legal fees, his own mother $68,000 in loans, and a Bally's gym $30,000 in past due membership costs. But that wasn't the worst of it.
Within a year of their wedding, when Pam was pregnant with their first son, Gary took her to consult with a bankruptcy lawyer.
Pam's world was closing in.
Pretense was a way of life. To the outside world, we never looked like we struggled. We'd be in a restaurant and Gary would tip the waitress $100 because he liked the way the young lady smiled. Meanwhile, we owed creditors thousands of dollars. I stashed $2 million markers in my cocktail purse in Las Vegas, knowing it was all bluff. Once, at a New Year's Eve party, Gary bought cocktails for the entire staff.
But it wasn't just Gary's debts Pam feared.
He had a cruel streak. Mr. Life of the party could also be scary. Once he nearly strangled me because I came home late from shopping. I disguised the bruises the next day with makeup. Then one night he stumbled home drunk and pointing a gun at me said, "I'm thinking about killing you," and then turning the gun on myself. Worse was when he hung up from a business call and calmly said, "He's done, finished." One phone call and he's gone.
Everyone thought he had connections to organized crime. The name, Triano.
It was Spanish, but that didn't matter. In Las Vegas, he carried on as if he was a mobster, flashing wads of cash in the casinos, betting and losing my money while I just watched from the wings. Everyone knew him as Mr. T. The illusion is what mattered.
She was about to lose her Skyline home. Gary promised to pay for it by assuring the investor land in a neighboring county. But instead, he repurchased the land and pocketed the $650,000 proceeds. He said he deserved it. The Skyline property was, after all, infested with kissing bugs. A judge disagreed and ordered him to reimburse the investor. The Skyline home was seized and sold at auction to satisfy the judgment.
Gary became paranoid after a while as more and more business deals soured. He slept with a loaded gun, his finger always on the trigger. By this time, I had 2 young children, and I spent most nights awake, fully dressed, ready to run if necessary. Then one night, Gary held the gun to my head and just stared at me, looking crazed, like foaming white at the mouth. After that, he monitored my movements, stalked me, wanting to know where I was, what I was doing, every minute of the day.
Later, Pam would tell police, "The real nightmare is in your mind, checking beneath pillows for a loaded gun, waiting for something to snap the tension." Finally, she received a real death threat.
From one of Gary's business deals. He'd borrowed capital from a group of Mexican investors and provided his partner's land in Sabino Canyon as collateral. Gary also personally guaranteed the $2 million. He claimed he had personal connections, but when Gary's partner filed for bankruptcy and the Mexicans lost their collateral, they came after Gary. Of course, he didn't have it, so they sued him for fraud.
Then one night the phone rang. Pam answered it, and a man with a thick Hispanic accent spoke over the line. He said he was an attorney for the Mexicans.
It's real simple. 1 minute you'll be there, the next you won't, if you don't make good on this.
That's when I filed for divorce.
Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of Crime Stands Still. And remember to download and listen for free on all your favorite streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, or Amazon Podcasts, or wherever you get your true crime fix. And if you enjoyed what you heard, please leave a review. Your feedback helps to keep the stories coming and lets others know where to find their next obsession. And if you'd like to learn more about this case, you can check out my book, A Socialite Scorned, available on Amazon and at kerriedroban.com. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and stay out of the shadows.